Hey everybody, Dave Knetter here from Knetter's Practical Outdoors. My sons and I went out and got a few bluegills, and I was just going to start to clean them up, and I thought I might show you guys out there a few things that I might do a little differently when I'm filleting fish, or specifically bluegills. One thing is, for the intricate work, I like to use the shorter, the 4-inch fillet knife. This is a Rapala name brand. It's a fantastic fillet knife. I do use this bigger one for a few of the cuts in a few different places where I'm holding the fillet down. You'll see that later on in the video. And the other thing I do is I do incorporate one of these fillet boards, you know, kind with the big clamp on the end. And you can see this one's been cut down, and I did that because I really only use this when I'm cleaning panfish. Those smaller fish tend not to hold on a normal cutting board quite as well. So that's why I cut it down. I don't use it for bigger fish. Walleye and pike, a little bit bigger, they tend to hold their place on the cutting board a little bit better. So well, let's go ahead and get started. One of the first things I'll do is I'll grab a fish and I'll get it clamped in. And this is where I do use the bigger knife. My first cut, go right behind that fin, and you're kind of angling it just a little bit just to get under the scales, and cut right across there like that. And using this bigger knife does a couple things. For one, the 4-inch sometimes is a little small for that. The other thing is I'm cutting into the scales a little bit more. Sometimes I'm going right down to the spine. So what I'm doing is I'm not dulling up this knife as much while I'm cleaning up the fish. Sharp knife, very important. So then I'll take my 4-inch and just start down top of the back, get past the rib cage, go all the way across, and just ride that spine down. Open it up and just keep cutting away the flesh. I'm going on top of the rib bones. The one thing that you'll run into though is there is a small row of pin bones along the lateral line. You will be cutting through those. Don't confuse those with the ribs. You want to go over the ribs, but I go through those pin bones, and we'll get those out later. And just run right down the ribs. And this is probably the point where I really like having that clamp the most, is it holds its place just as I come down here and cut that away. So that's one. So then we're going to switch this guy around. And I have, when I clean fish, I try to keep one dirty hand and one clean hand. So whenever I touch the fish, I do try to use this hand. So anyways, big knife for the first cut. Kind of angle it, get under those scales, go all the way across. Come in with the small one. Get past the rib cage, all the way through, and just follow it right down. Then again, we're opening it up, and we're just following it right over the top of those ribs. Cutting through those pin bones. Like that. Into the clamp he goes. First cut with the bigger knife. Underneath this fin, angle it a little bit to get under the scales, and across to the little knife. And just follow it down slightly in until you get past the rib cage, all the way across, and just ride that backbone down. Then we're going to pull this open, and we're just following the bone structure all the way back. We're going to cut through some little pin bones, but don't confuse those with the ribs. They're much smaller. And I get to about here, and then I'll just cut it right off. And that's a pretty decent chunk of meat. This really isn't that big of a bluegill. Flip them over. Same thing on this side. Big knife first cut. Crossed. Small knife. Again, past the rib cage. And follow it down. And now again, we're just following bone structure up over the ribs, through those small pin bones. And there we go. Alright, we got them all broke down. And now we're going to get the skins off. And this is where I use the two knives. The small one just to hold it to start, and the big one just to get going. And I'll grab it with my hands and just kind of shuck it right out of the skin. And then the only bones that are left are this small row of pin bones along here. If you run your fingers back down toward the tail of the fish, you can feel them sticking up. So I just go on either side and cut back down about that far on either side of that line. And you just cut that little notch out, and then that's totally boneless. Alright guys, we got all the bluegills cleaned up. We got ourselves a nice bowl of boneless fillets here. They're going to taste great. And I'd love to tell you it's only about 5 minutes after I started, but it's not. It's quite a bit longer than 5 minutes later. But anyways, just remember, hunt, fish, laugh, repeat. This is Dave Knetter from Knetter's Practical Outdoors. Thanks for watching, and God bless.